Welcome back, YouTube fans. Well, this is me, and now I'm about to tell you the NBA trade deadline recap. Who won, who lost, the numbers, why I think they won and lost. You know how it is. I'm an NBA nut, but I'm also a basketball nut. Playing, talking, everything. So here we go. The first trade happened the day before the trade deadline with the Kings and the Nets. The Kings got Jason the Jet Terry and Reggie Evans. The Nets got young shooting guard Marcus Thornton. Now, by the numbers, Jason Terry and Reggie Evans are averaging 7.3 points a game, 6.1 rebounds, and 1.8 assists. But Marcus Thornton also helps them not just by the numbers with his 8.3, a whole point over, but Jason Terry was 36. Reggie Evans was 34. The Nets were an aging team, so they got a shooting guard who was younger, who's 26, and that's what the Nets needed. They needed youth. They're old. They're retirement old. Now the second trade that happened the day before the deadline was between the Lakers and Warriors. So if you didn't get that, the Nets won that trade. Yeah. The Kings got two old players. The Nets get a young shooter. The Lakers and Warriors, the Lakers get Ken Bazemore and Marshawn Brooks. The Warriors get Steve Blake. Now, I said the Lakers won because they got a young point guard and a young shooting guard. Now, they're trying to tank, but it's not just about that. They're trying to get young because they've been old for so long. You know, Kobe and Pau Gasol and all them. Steve Blake wasn't over the hill point guard who age was catching up to him. So, Lakers win. The Warriors get an over the hill point guard, which I don't think is going to help them get into the playoffs like Jarrett Jack would have if they got him back from the Cavs. Now, the Heat and the Kings made a trade, and that was the first trade that was reported on trade deadline day. The Kings get Roger Mason Jr. in cash. The Heat get a second round pick. You know what the Heat were doing. They traded Roger Mason Jr. because they had a 15-man roster already, so they traded him, so they got an open roster spot to sign the vets that can get cut. So, the Heat win. And plus, the Kings already waived Roger Mason. I don't think anybody's going to pick him up either, so his career is probably done. Cavs and Sixers made a trade second. Cavs won. Do I need to say more? They trade Earl Clark and Spencer Hawes. Or Earl Clark and Henry Sims, 2 third stringers and 2 second round picks for a starter. Cavs won. And the Sixers already waived Earl Clark. So then the next trade was between the Bobcats and the Bucks. The Bobcats were looking for a shooter to help spread the floor with Kemba Walker and big boy Al Jefferson. So the Bobcats get Gary Neal and Luke Rittenauer. The Bucks get Raymond Sessions and Jeff Adrian. I said it was a tie. To me, it sounded like nobody wins in this trade. Sounds like they trade the same for the same, except for Gary Neal gets hot. It'll help him in the playoffs too and get that last spot. Then there was a 3-team trade between the Wizards, Sixers, and Nuggets. I said the Wizards won because they get a solid backup point guard who is a veteran, which is what they needed. The trade went like this. The Wizards got Andre Miller. The Sixers get Eric Maynor, who failed as the Wizards' backup, and 2 second round picks, and the Nuggets get Jan Vesely. He sucks. He's athletic and can dunk and a high flyer, but he's not a Dirk Nowitzki like everybody made him out to be. You can't shoot worth a crap. Then the next trade was Nuggets and Rockets. The Nuggets got Aaron Brooks. They need a point guard after they traded Andre Miller, so pretty predictable. And the Rockets get Jordan Hamilton. I said it was a tie because the Rockets needed a small forward to back up. Chandler Parsons. And the Nuggets need a point guard. Then there were other moves that were made. The Clippers and Hawks made a trade. The Hawks I said the Clippers won this one. They get an open roster spot, cap space, and they got rid of Antoine Jameson, who wasn't doing anything for him anyway. And the Clippers get a second round pick. Spurs Raptors. The Spurs get Austin Daye. And the Raptors get Nato DiColo. I said it was a tie, but really I believe that the Spurs won because the Raptors already have like 4 point guards, so Nato's not even going to play. While Austin Daye, he could help the Spurs because he's not just a shooter, but he's 6'11". So I'm going to say the Spurs win. I initially said tie, but I think the Spurs are going to win this because they still have 1 or 2 open roster spots. And when Caron Butler and all these other players start getting cut, it'll be good. So but 6'11", the Spurs needed height. So that's a good move for them. Then the Clippers and the Sixers made a trade. The Clippers, they get a second round pick and the Sixers get Byron Mullins. Like I said, the Clippers are trying to get open roster spots. And Byron Mullins didn't get any playing time, so like Antoine Jameson. No. Then the Pacers and the Sixers made the biggest blockbuster trade that shocked everybody, including me. The Pacers get Evan Turner and LaVoy Allen, but they trade away longtime Pacer and Pacer favorite Danny Granger, who was the guy, but then got hurt. And he was being alright in his bench role, but he really wasn't being what he used to be scoring-wise. So I guess they traded him because they felt like dead weight, but I felt a little weird because he's still a shooter, and he has the height to defend LeBron James. But then again, if he's slow and really can't shoot or defend anymore, then what help is he going to be? And then, the Pacers get a young guard/forward in Evan Turner, who's averaging 17 points but in 16 shots a game, but he can light it off probably off the bench. So, and then they get another height. All I'm saying is, you know how to beat the Heat? Get height. The Pacers now have 4 centers. Let's see if it works. If the theory's right, get height, beat the Heat. We'll see. But Danny Granger, Paul George even said he's like a big brother to me. That's why I'm also weary about this trade too, but hopefully it works in the Pacers' favor. And we see the Heat get destroyed. And the Pacers go to the NBA Finals. Now we have the day after the trades, which is when players get cut. Usually, veterans are going to start to get cut because off bad teams because they want to play on playoff teams, which is what it's truly all about anyway, unless you're trying to rebuild. So, like I said, Earl Clark, I think he's done. Roger Mason Jr., I think his career is done. Hey, I was actually kind of surprised. I heard that Jason Collins might get signed back to the New Jersey Nets. Somebody needs to sign this guy. Let him be the first openly gay NBA player. Come on now. I know that's the only reason why they can keep on saying it's because of his age. It's because he's gay. But come on, man. Let him play. Let one of them play. Come on now. Come on, NBA. Come on. Somebody sign him. Somebody sign him. But anyway, people who just got waived already after one day. Glenn Davis. Now, people that are interested, he was on the Orlando Magic. They always called him Baby Shaq back in the day. teams that are interested the most are the Clippers, Nets, Spurs, and Heat. I think he's going to go either with the Nets so he can be back with Kevin Garnett or Paul Pierce, or go to the Clippers to be with Doc Rivers. That's my bet anyway. And then I heard that Antoine Jamison, the teams he's most likely to go to are the Spurs, Heat, and Wizards. Now I know this might be a shock, but I don't think the Heat are going to get either two of these players because I think that the Wizards are going to sign Antoine Jamison so he can finish his career there, and everybody knows how great of a professional and how great of a player he was for them back in the day. It'll be like a homage to him. Ronnie Brewer just got cut. I think he could get picked up because he's a 6'9" guy who's a small forward and he's a great defender. He can't shoot worth of crap, but he's a great defender. So I think he'll be picked up. Danny Granger, I heard a rumor about the Heat, but I don't think so. But we'll see what team Danny Granger goes to after the Sixers probably cut him. And then I heard Ben Gordon's about to get bought out by the Bobcats. We'll see. It hasn't happened yet, and I also heard another name's been rumored on the cutting block is Caron Butler. So we'll see what happens, and this is the NBA trade deadline recap and the starting of the cutting veterans to sign on playoff teams. And I'll catch you next time, YouTube. Shout out. There's my baby, my son Anakin. Check you later.